Thank you so much, Robert, Philip, and Matt. Thank you for being here. We will see you back here in a little bit for some Q&A. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Let's get started. Let's get ourselves into the first short introductions of Umbraco. Who are we? We're an open source CMS system. We are commercially backed, as we say it. Not truly open source, but commercially backed. That means that there is a solid company behind it. We've been around for 20 years. We're 150 people. We have more than 25 different nationalities, so truly global around the world. And we have a global and very diverse community, including about, wow, last time we counted, it's more than 3,000 people, active members in our community. So it's a big community around it. Our biggest market is in the US. We have our head office in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we work with web and omni-channel content for more than 20 years together with our clients and partners. We are one of the largest CMS systems in the world from an installation base as it is, so very commonly spread. So I would dare to say that we understand trends and clients' needs when it comes to content and content strategy. It's even absolutely key for our success to understand that. So it's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking forward to be able to share some of our thoughts and around the content strategy and how to master that. But since we are a technology company, today's presentation will also include, of course, some technology, not at depth, but it's our absolute belief that in order for you to have a solid content strategy, you have to take both in the strategic side of it, of course, but also the technology side and what it enables and its capabilities. So therefore, it's a pleasure for me to also have my CTO here, Filip, that will cover that a little bit later into it. It's a cliffhanger for you all there out there. So let's get going into this when it comes to. So when I'm out there meeting clients and talk to people, typically to set in perspective, where are we? Where do we come from? So we say from value to interactions to transactions to AI. 20 years ago, in the heydays of e-business, when the web and the CMS systems were created, it was all about volume. We have X number of pages on our homepage with some kind of volume measurements. That kind of quickly became redundant because people realize it's not the volume of it. It's actually the time spent. How do we interact with people? Get onto our homepage and what do they do? Not only having a brochure and be out there, but actually have interaction. So time spent, the site visited, how many visitors do we have? How many has visited some pages? That was the key thing then. While we've seen then, as it is, of course, over the years, there's coming into the vital piece of it, the transaction, actually interacting with clients, the possibility to do transactions, sort that out in business consumer industry. We've seen that, and that has been the whole digital transformation that has been ongoing for the last couple of years. Now, lately, AI has been around for quite a while, but it's become more public, of course, as it is, and we all have to take that into consideration. We'll mention that a little bit later. But it is a few words around AI before we jump further. We get the question quite often, how do you incorporate AI? What's your view on AI? Everyone needs to have an AI view. But as I usually say, I'm not old, but I've been around. And I've seen these hypes before. And I would say that AI is overhyped. It is. Is it a long-term disruptor? But it is a clear trend. There's a clear effect. And it's something we see quite often when technology is coming out, that we overestimate the short-term impact and we underestimate the long-term impact. We saw it when mobile phones were coming after it. It was an extreme hype around it. But on the long term, of course, everything is now on mobile. So I'm not disagreeing on saying that AI is a long-term disruptor, but right now we are in a phase where we're overhyping it. And I would even say that we are in the phase where we are putting the technology in front of the business case. We're trying on the back of technology find business cases. And that is quite a different situation when the business case are driving technology. But we've seen it happen before, but it's a brutally disruptor on the long term. And it's something that, of course, is part of it. And I will catch up on that a little bit later on, a few slides later, but I just want to reflect on that. No proper speech nowadays can avoid AI. Yeah. So on to it, the next part. Again, AI comes in here in the discussion, of course, again. We say slow down to speed up. It is a fact that AI has been driving the opportunity to mass produce content. The time spent to creating a blog post, an entry, even video, even graphical content has been completely taken down to almost zero. And this has become an overflow. And just a year ago, I would say things were cool to have content delivered by AI. Now it's coming a complete whiplash, and there's something against it. I can see trends out there that as soon as you smell AI-generated content, you kind of just log out. Long posted on LinkedIn, for example, getting less and less attention because the fact that we see that it's an AI generated. So what would they be, and what we say then here is that the CMOs today are facing a hyper-competitive content landscape. The attention is scarce as always, but traditional content marketing strategies are less effective. So what are then to do then? And the recipe towards that is to, of course, focus on the uniqueness of it. Prioritize deep, insightful and unique content. Spend the time to do it. There's classic ones like the storytelling get in there, unique perspective and differentiated. So slow down in that sense to also speed up then. So less content, more personalized, more storytelling, and try to make it as non-AI produced as much as possible. But use AI to do the base for it and the draft for it, but then spend time on doing it as little AI produced as possible. Contradictions. AI is a tool, but can never do the full work. That is our part of it, and then what we see when I talk to CMOs and marketers out there, the concern are getting that. So the work, the whole CMO role and content editors, as predicted, maybe a year or two, that has not gone away. The importance is still there. Yeah. So on the next then is which we see, which maps into a little bit what I just mentioned, the personalization. It's a matter of to reach the right people with the right message is getting more and more important. We've seen it happen before, and in my previous lives, I was in the online marketing where the retargeting digital marketing were given opportunity to reach people in a different way, but personalization and retargeting, as known there, was quite fast adopted and is a vital part of it. We see that now also coming into, and it's been there for a while. I heard about personalization 20 years ago. But what we see typically in the content strategy here, that these projects are over-engineered and too ambitious, so they never get to a real result. We see it's better to invest in personalization and AI-driven content delivery, but with a simpler approach to see and ensure that it gets working. And move away from a generic one size fits all content and work more towards the personalization parts of it that works. AI can support here, but again, it's a tool. So carefully bring it into this. It's still a matter of understanding who are our visitors, who are the ones that are consuming our content, and what are they interested in. And with that, also focus on what you put in front of them. So focus on interactive, adaptive content that changes based upon the audience engagement. Make the content more interactive and experimental. So not only finding the right and be understanding who's coming in and how do we bring things forward to them, but also finding the right content in it. We've seen that in the online marketing area, and we see that now also coming into the whole owned media part of it. So the statistic blogs, PDFs are being replaced by dynamic, engaging format, chatbots, linked videos, webinars, Q&A sessions, but it's all, again, owning the strategy of what is the content we produce and present to our targeted audience. Yeah, gamification, quizzes, experiment, and with the personalization, also ensure that you have platforms where you can do A and B testing, where you can evaluate constantly, because this is not one shop. This is constantly working with your content to bring it live to it. But personalization is definitely important. Yeah. So the next step is then going over to what we see then here in the whole content is that the owned media is becoming more and more important. Don't treat it as a brochure. I mean, this is classic kicking in open doors. It's not a website. It's a content hub where you bring this out to. So build a strong owned media channel, and still, of course, the whole ecosystem is important. But don't rely upon social media platforms. Ensure that your own media is really the most important platform for you to communicate and to drive the pipeline or the funnel as you want to, based upon your business. The important thing is here, of course, the whole notions about the targeting that we talked about earlier, the personalization, to own the first-party data. That is technology thing in the background, but we won't go deeper onto that. But that comes with it with your own media. Right? Yeah. So on that, just spending a little bit of thoughts on their own media, which will then tee over to, of course, what we can provide as a technology provider for their own media and the CMS system. Is that there's part of this where we see on the social platform side where algorithms fluctuate, the audience is kind of quite unreliable, and the whole trend out there on the social medias and those are unpredictable. So again, repeating back to that, your website is controlled first-party data rich environment where you set the rules. You control the narrative, you control what you do. So it is a very important part for it. Then how to drive the traffic towards your own media and your webpage, it's of course slightly another discussion when it comes to drive traffic. Yeah. So again, back to what we see on our systems and the implementations done by our partners is, again, the whole flexibility that's needed. And Filip will cover that a little bit later. But in order to be able to create those more creative webinars, interactive tools, etc. Yeah. On the final part that I've been getting more and more during the last week or so in discussions with partners is the whole CEO and geo. And this is before I hand over to Filip here on some of them. So let's spend a little bit on this. SEO, as we know it, is the whole search engine optimization based upon that we know how the big search engines are prioritizing their results when the search are done. It's keyword based, and we know how to do SEO by getting phrases and keywords into various parts of the website, titles, headers, and meta descriptions. It's a known capability how to drive your search engine optimizations part, right? But the geo, that is then for the generative engine optimization or AI optimization, this changed. And let me just tell a story that I heard. I was in the US traveling to Minneapolis last week, and I got the following story, true story to it. It's one of our partner there, a media agency. They got a cold call from a client in Washington. And they never worked in that region. They've done any marketing or anything there. That's simply not their region that they are focusing on. And they got quite interested by the fact that the reason why they were calling them is that client were dissatisfied with their current media agency or strategic media agency or partner that they had. So they simply went into ChatGPT and they wrote in, find me a replacement for, and then the name of the media agency that also have the following capabilities. And it was just giving a couple of capabilities there, not a massive thing. And then the result were this agency based in Minneapolis. How that happened, they have done some research on, and they think they might understand, but at the end of the day, they really don't know how that came out. So this is a true story that happened a couple of weeks ago. So geo is something that marketeers and content strategy needs to take in along with the SEO, with the search engine optimization, because it doesn't replace it, but it's the fact that it will go really fast. And where all the big engines are now also applying generative answers to it, and you're able to put more lengthy or more specific questions into the prompt. So this introduces some complexity in the whole strategy of content and how you build your geo and how you build that to it. Because given the black box and fast-moving nature of the generative engines, content creators have little to no control over when and how their content is displayed. So the example here with the media agency replacement here that I just told you is an example of that. Because SEO is working out of, as we said, keywords, while geo is picking out from various sites of it. And also how they work is dependent on, now we're getting into machine learning and deep learning and how AI is actually working, predicting the next word, etc. into that. It gets harder to give a firm answer at this point. So I would even claim that there's various alternatives out there, but it's not settled. This is to come. How do we actually actively work with the geo here? But there are a few things that comes into mind. And there's also some other dynamics before we get there, is that the generative AI, in contrast to traditional search engine, as we said, has removed also the need to navigate to the websites to directly providing a precise and comprehensive response as we know it. It is what we call a zero-click search. So the hit you get might not even lead to that they are clicking. They're not even getting to your site. It's a full response about your capabilities or whatever they're after, which leads to a call to action there and then. That might not include a click to your. That could be that it's already addressed there, and whatever call to action you might bring in there. So it's a fairly complicated thing that we need to take seriously. There is no standard network or framework for this, as I said, but it's clearly that the way an AI works with this, that is more sentences in. So from what we see in the industry now, and the recommendations is that you have to start thinking about how to use more descriptive language, whatever you want to. A pizza house, for example, a pizza or an Italian restaurant, instead of just listing pizza and a takeaway and cappuccino, whatever you put in there as keywords in SEO, you need to start thinking of why would someone that's looking for a cozy, atmospherically Italian restaurant nearby a metro. There could be anything like that. And the variety and the span of this request will increase significantly. So, of course, there is a difficult thing, but that's what you have to start working on. So it's called the long tail keywords, less competitive, including citations, quotations from relevant sources. Statistics has turned also to be very good because that's what AI is trying to rate. Give me the best, and they're trying to figure out which one is the best. And also see to that whatever combination there might be, because it's not only your site that will drive this, it's the whole combination of it. So if you are referenced at other sites, see to that is it. So constantly refresh your content is something, and work upon this to explore constant, because this will become extremely important for your drive towards the websites. Yeah, there's a lot of things to read about this, but I find it really interesting to see how this is going to explore in the future. So hopefully a little bit of a guidance along that. Long keywords, tail keywords, as we talked about, less competitive, citations, yeah, and statistics. I need to breathe, I think, because I got a little bit. I think this is very interesting. But Filip, are you on the tee up for you as this on the owned media and on this subject? So please on the next part here take over and talk a little bit of the technology side of this.
Yeah, there's so much interesting stuff in what you just said. Like when it comes to that GEO or AIO, like how does it work with your personalization segments? How does it work with like when as a commerce owner you want to do some merchandising and put some products in front of other products? Like there's so many challenges here that we need to as an industry like figure out how does this actually work. I mean, in all fairness, it took us 10 years to figure out how Google works, right? So it's probably something that will continue to be a black box for some time yet. But I think like the interesting thing about what you're saying is like there's a lot of change going on. You need to be ready to move. You need to be ready to change. And luckily, we're in a position now where like, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but most of our competitors out there, like they all have pretty good products. Like we all have good products. We can all, you know, let you manage content somehow and serve it to an audience. And like all of this kind of stuff is almost become like a commodity, right? So when we advise people to like when they're building digital experiences today, I always say like, think about your like the product that you're looking for. Think about it as a platform. Think about it as something that you can build your stuff on top of. Like this shouldn't be a shoebox that has everything right out of the box, because like you won't need the same thing tomorrow. Rather, you want something that you can build on top of, so that you don't have to switch your system when the world changes next time, right? And I mean, yeah, there's definitely going to be more and more content. Generative AI, personalization, all of this stuff just adds more and more content, and it becomes more and more scalable. And yeah, I totally agree with your point. Like, we're all starting to feel that, like when you hear certain words, you know that this is something that a personalization engine or like a generative AI somewhere wrote, and it kind of doesn't feel very good. So like, be aware of what you're doing. But when you are looking for a platform, instead of looking at like the regular, does it have feature X or Y or Z? Like I would much rather think about like the future perspectives of your platform. Like what's the ecosystem like? How many partner agencies are there out there? Like how does it work with, how does your developers or your partners developers, how do they feel when they work with this platform? Is it flexible for them? Does it do what they need to? And at the end of the day, like your employees, the people who actually sit and write the content or manage the content and builds out the web pages, how is their experience like? Like, because it's about the people. Like technology is easy, right? Like it's about people, and that's what it is at the end of the day, right? So one of the things I think is crucial when you're looking at a platform is flexibility. You want something that you can bend just to the need that you have, that is built to be customized. Because at the end of the day, like if all the platforms do the same thing, if you just use what's in the box, then you're just going to look like and feel like anybody else. So like in order to stand out, you need something that you can bend, you need something that you can build on top of to give you all of this stuff. And flexibility here, of course, can mean like, is it easy to program with? Is there a lot of add-ons available in some marketplace somewhere? Is there integrations already made, or is the documentation good? That kind of stuff is super crucial when you're selecting your platform. And then scalability. Can it grow with you? What's the cost when you start? A lot of the products out there, they're either very cheap and then they can never scale with you as your business grows, or they start out really, really expensive because they need to be able to fit the same thing. Instead, what you want is something that can grow along with you, where you can start out relatively cheaply, get started. Don't pay for your personalization engine before you actually need it. Don't pay for your commerce engine before you actually need it. Add it as you go on, as your business grows. That's where you want it. And the same thing for your hosting. You know, most days your traffic is probably kind of straightforward. Like you know kind of what to expect, and then you need a platform that you can then scale. You can crank up to 11 on Black Friday or whatever is your highlight of the year. Or if there's an emergency and you're the emergency supplier or something, like you need a platform where you can scale it up when that demand is really there, right? And then stability. I think like being able to trust your vendor is super crucial. You want someone where you actually know what's coming, you know when it's coming, someone where there's a public roadmap where you can see what features are planned and when do they expect them to ship, and maybe even some historical proof of actually shipping what they provide, what they promise, right? And then, I mean, along with that is like being transparent about your operations. Like no service anywhere, I can promise you this, I've been in tech for 20 years or 25 years, I can promise you this, like no service runs 100% of the time 10 years in a row. Like that doesn't exist. So if your vendor can't tell you when their last downtime was or is not public about it, it's because they're lying to you or they're holding something back. So you're looking for someone who's transparent about their processes, who's transparent about their failures. And then you, of course, you should be looking out for if they have outages all the time, or if their outages takes days to recover from, then probably choose someone else, right? But no outages is not a sign of a good product. That's a sign of, hiding away from the truth. And I guess the same thing more or less comes with security, right? Security is super crucial, not only for like legal and compliance reasons and not giving away your customer data, but just for your platform to keep running. And the same goes here, like you're not looking for the person that has no information about security. You're looking for the company or the vendor that is public about how they treat security issues, where you can see a proven track record over time about what issues were found and how quickly were they fixed, and ships like releases being shipped out, and like this is what you're looking for when you're looking for security.
Yeah.
Of course, as I said, ecosystem, somewhere where there's a partner network around you, where there is a marketplace, where there's developers that already know the platform, right? I think one of the big strengths of a platform is when you can play into an existing market, like play into a market that's already big. For us, we're on the .NET platform, and it's relatively easy today out there to find .NET developers. I mean, there might be too few of them, but like there's a lot of them. And that's a really good thing, because that means that most .NET developers would be able to do Umbraco really, really quickly if they don't already know. And there's already actually quite a lot of developers certified to use Umbraco. So like definitely look into the ecosystem as well. And then before I end, I just want to say again, like the same thing you could say about hosting, like actually running the website. It's a commodity as well. Everybody can put a website on a server somewhere. That's not the difficult part. So what you're looking for when you're looking for a service provider is somewhere where your developers are efficient, where they feel like they get the data that they're looking for, where spinning up new environments or adding new domain names or anything like this is clicks of a button and then you're good to go, right? This is what you're looking for. At the end of the day, if you can save $30 a month on choosing one platform over the other, that doesn't move the needle in any kind of way. But if you can save 5 hours of developer time a month, that's hours that you can spend on building the next feature that attracts more customers. And then at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Perfect.
So I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. What do you think, Mads?
Me and Filip, we can go on forever on this. You got going, but now I think we can see that there's a limit to our bandwidth here also. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mads and Filip. Really interesting. So yes, we are short on time, but we do have a couple of questions for you. Mads, this one is for you. Many enterprises struggle to balance scalability with flexibility in their content strategy. How do you see the role of CMS in enabling businesses to adapt to changing content needs without being locked into rigid systems?
Well, it's back to what Filip talked about and what we see. The content strategy needs to be twofolded. You need to have the strategic parts, or the parts that I talk about, but a big CMS platform do not have to be expensive. It can entail all these things, as Filip talked about, the flexibility, pay for what you go for, and be able to adopt to your business. And that will not become a significant part. And if you do it properly, you will also keep the whole implementation piece to a lower. You don't have this big bang effect. You gradually grow with it. It's a continuous work. So you are always updated on the way you communicate and the way you build your strategy. So absolutely, it's doable. And don't take, yeah. So that's absolutely possible, and we see that big sites with a huge traffic, with a lot of complexity into do not have to pay a cost a fortune, and it could even that it's not stuck. So yeah.
That's good to know. And Filip, we've got one for you as well. AI and automation are becoming key drivers in content production. Enterprises leverage these technologies within their CMS while maintaining control, personalization, and quality.
Yeah, well, I think as Mads started out saying, like AI is still like changing a lot. Like what's relevant in AI today might not be relevant tomorrow. So our approach is very much about like making add-ons on top of our platform that brings AI into the product. So they're easy to use, so they're convenient for developers, but also so that you can swap them, so that you can change them out as your need changes. Because anything that goes into the platform, we can never take away again because people might be depending on it, right? So we're a little bit hesitant in taking stuff into the platform. Instead, we really encourage people to go to our marketplace on marketplace.umbraco.com, where you can find like AI packages already that adds lots of cool AI features right into Umbraco already today.
All right, perfect. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Robert, we will send it on back to you.
Thank you.